Hello, Internet, and welcome back to Antiheroes in Exandria. I am your DM, Kay, and these are my lovely players. Let's start with some introductions. Nick.
Hi, I'm Nick. I play Eastern Selberg, the human archfey patron warlock.
Hi, I'm Ethan. I play Bonfdal, the Dragon Bear Barbazard.
Hi,
Yep, I
I'm
do.
Zach, and I play Zonks, the Bugborn Wizarian.
Oh, I feel like those are my babies now. Okay, I'm Melissa. I play Angelica Jacobson, and she is a lovely purple druid.
Yeah, cool. So we're playing Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. It's wonderful. We premiere our episodes on YouTube every Monday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. Tonight, we are resuming our adventure, which is set in Exandria. We have some character portraits on our stat cards that are over that way that I drew. And you can check the video description for links and information, as well as resources for Black Lives Matter and Stop Asian Hate. You can follow us on Twitter at Antiheroes Anon for news and updates. And you can enjoy our show. Share it with your friends. Keep watching, please. That's it for announcements. Let's go ahead and cut to the intro video. Pseep, 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 pseep. Welcome back. Let's go ahead and start off with a recap of the madness that is season 3. Our party has a name. We are the Quatrefoils, and they have arrived in the city of Uthadern in the Flatcat Alps, where they agreed to investigate 3 matters for Glassblade Captain Ednis Frosthelm. In the first, the matter of the suspicious characters at the Rough Diamond pawn shop. The party has reported to Ednis that the shop is being used as a front for the Jagantoth crime family out of Shady Creek Run. Ednis paid handsomely for this information, bless you, and hinted unsubtly that they can bring back if they can bring back actionable proof, there will be further reward in it for them. In the matter of the Caustic Heart's rivalry with the Platinum Vault, the local temple to Bahamut, the Quatrefoils were caught in the middle of a skirmish between the Heart's devotees and the paladins of the Platinum Dragon. According to Ednis, Scalebearer Silverbraid lodged several official complaints that the Caustic Heart is poaching followers from their church. The party doesn't yet know what to make of the situation, but intends to question both Pascal Roth and High Paladin Winterhammer now that they've been taken into custody following the brawl. In the matter of elderly elves turning up as drained dead husks, the party has made no headway at all. However, they have warned the proprietor of the Garnet Petal Tea House and offered to escort her home at the close of her business, and have some ideas about interviewing the surviving family of the latest victim. Now, last week, we left off as you were enjoying some of said tea house's high tea service, and you were discussing ideas for how to get some evidence from the Rough Diamond, and you've decided that your best plan of action was just to go in and fuck up Undek Shadow Shoulder, the proprietor of the Rough Diamond. So the day's getting on. You're at the tea house. You've had a nice chat. Bonks feels like his razor sharp teeth are just the best.
They are.
What would you like to do?
Well, let's take stock of the things that we have that we want to do. We need to walk an old lady across the street. We need to visit the bereaved.
Mhm.
And we need to mess up a pawn shop. And we need to interrogate some baddies, right? Is that it? Did I miss anything?
Sounds like about it.
Okay. Well,
Bonks is just smiling.
we've got a little bit left in the day. So maybe we can get one thing done and then come back here to walk the elderly home.
Yeah.
Well, is it really close to where they're being held? Let's go there.
I think we are in
where-
the Volition disc.
They are
and
in the Volition disc. You are in the Liber disc right
Got it
now.
we're in the
So
Liber
it's a
disc.
long walk to go back up. But I believe the inn you're staying at, if you go back to the same place as before, is on the Volition disc. So
What about the bereaved? How close are they? Of the lady that got killed.
yes, the estate, the Quirn estate, is located at the end of the Liber disc.
Do you
closer.
feel like doing that, guys?
Sure, I'll go whatever.
proximity wise, I guess that's the closest thing.
And maybe we can bring some info to help the tea shop lady.
Okay.
Make her,
Okay. Sounds
make her a
good.
bit safer.
Okay. Then we are going to the Quirn estate. So you get directions from Ulera, who is the name of the proprietor of the Garnet Petal Tea House. She kind of explains, like, look for this very sleek elven designed set of buildings at the end of the Demerant Circle. There's probably, or in the Demerant Circle, which is kind of the area at the end of the Liber disc where the affluent families and the older families live.
Okay.
So you make your way down the Augur Trail to the end of the Liber disc, and you can see there are a lot of more, estates rather than single homes down here. Walls, fences, and that kind of thing. And you do see a few that look like they are of elven design. And yeah, you eventually locate the one that says, Quirn on the fence or whatever.
I have a question about just the environment around the states.
Mhm.
Is it like cave walls everywhere? Like they're like high
Yeah.
and wide cave walls?
Yeah.
Is kind of the okay.
Yeah. You're basically in this really giant, slowly spiraling downward tunnel. But it's like very, very vast.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And it's lit by is it like street lights or something, or is it just like
Mhm.
okay?
Mhm. Yeah.
And is it all paved too, where we are?
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, so I know we usually go into these things just kind of like firing from the hip, off the cuff type sort of thing. But we should
Works for us
probably
so
keep
far.
in mind that we are going to visit someone who recently lost a loved one. So I don't know, maybe we just be a little bit tactful.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Are Bonks' teeth still amazing?
I mean,
I mean,
you're pretty sure you think
okay.
so.
So he's like, yeah, sounds good to me.
And Bonks, maybe keep your mouth shut. I mean, and just like when you're not talking,
Wow.
just
Wow.
Bonks looks really
So-
distraught right now. Like, maybe I'll just stay outside.
your teeth are just kind of scary right now. So
I mean,
understand.
to you guys, they look like normal teeth.
Yeah, I know.
Normal,
Yep.
amazing teeth.
Yeah.
All right, Neil, can you roll a persuasion check?
Sure. Good old +0. I think it's +0. Yep, +0. 9.
I'll think about it.
Okay. Zoe feels a little nervous about this.
Bonks feels confident that his teeth are amazing and everyone else will appreciate it.
Of course they will.
Angelica,
Okay.
you've got a soothing presence. Do you want to, I don't
I
know,
was just
kick this
gonna
off?
ask if we're ready. Let's go. Let's knock on the door. Now
Lead
or
the way.
never. All right.
Yeah. Okay, so you knock on the door, and the person who answers is an elvish man with, young looking, high cheekbones, golden eyes, and he's got kind of this long light brown hair that he has wearing half up in a half up ponytail kind of. And he's got a little bit like softer features than you would expect for the elves, at least compared to the elves that you've seen. And he kind of opens the door and he looks at you all and he's like, yes, hello. How may I help you?
Hello. We just finished having tea with Ulera down over at the Garnet Petal Tea Shop, and we heard about your terrible loss. And we were wondering if we could visit with Valora for a little while and extend our condolences and maybe try to help the situation a little bit. Would that be okay? Or is now not a good time?
He kind of gives you a half smile and he says that is very kind of you. My sister is very busy with the arrangements, but please come in. He
Thank
opens
you.
the door.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, so you guys are led in to this home, and it's very much what you'd expect from like a well-to-do family, nice big. I wrote these down somewhere. Why am I making this up off the top of my head? I have this information somewhere. They're very, very poshly furnished. And big, nice windows and expensive looking chairs and tables and that kind of thing. But he leads you kind of down the hall into a sitting room. And it's got this nice, comfortable kind of couch set up with like a table and Angelica, you would actually notice this first as you walk into the room, but there's a giant, you all see this giant painting that's hung on the wall kind of above the main sofa. And it's of this very beautiful, very tall looking androgynous figure with this long flowing blonde hair, dressed in like greens, pale green clothing. And Angelica, you recognize this figure. You have seen this figure before.
Is it Corellin?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh,
yep.
So I look at it and I say, "Oh my gosh, I've met her." And them. I've met them before. Wow. Have you?
The elvish man looks at you with kind of astonishment and says, "Well, that is a very, very lucky feat indeed. Not many people can claim to have met the Archers. They have protected our family for generations, but I'm starting to wonder if their eyes have turned elsewhere right now."
No, definitely not. She is asking for people to help her, and her quest and my quest and our quest. So very much involved and very much caring. And don't lose hope.
He grabs your hands as you talk, and he's looking very hopefully at you. He's like, then did they send you? Are you here to help our family? Are you here to
Very
stop this madness?
Very much so. Can you tell me what you know?
Well, please sit, please.
I
And
need- I need to know about the circumstances.
he kind of guides you all to sit, and he goes over and he rings a bell. And a servant comes into the room, and he asks for like a tea set and some what's the word, refreshments to be brought out. And he kind of gestures for you all to sit, and he sits down on an armchair kind of across from the big couch, and he says, well, I admit I don't know much about the details, but Mother, he kind of starts tearing up a little bit. You can see he's like starting to get emotional. Well, they said that it was something supernatural, I suppose. That's what everyone thinks. Uncle thinks it might have something to do with the curse of the wood. But I don't know how it could have reached us here. And I don't know why, but
Curse of the
She
wood, the
was-
Savalier wood.
yes.
Hmm.
Yes, our family is originally from Molaesmere, you see. I was born here, but and my sister was born here, but well, my mother, she lived in Molaesmere for a long while before she came here, after
I see.
what happened. Uncle knows more about it than I do, I admit.
Is he around?
Yes, he is.
Yes, I've got a few questions for him as well, if you wouldn't mind.
Of course. He goes over and rings the bell again, has a hushed conversation with the servant. And at this point, the other servant, the first one, comes back and starts putting out like the tea, and like there's like little like tea biscuits and stones and that kind of thing on the table. And
Oh.
the man comes and sits, and he's kind of wringing his hands, and he's like, my name is Daiwaren, by the way. Lethanel was my mother.
Well, we're the Quatrefoils, and I'm Angelica. This is Zoph, Bonks, and Easter. And we have come here on several missions, but this is one that has a really high priority for me personally.
Sorry. I don't mean to interject, but can I ask you a question?
Yeah, yes, of course.
You said she was your mother, correct?
Yes.
Did your mother know any of the other people who have suffered the same fate?
Of course she did. We all did.
So it's a very tight community.
This is what I was going to ask the uncle, if they all came directly from what's the city,
Molaesmere.
Can't say it.
Well,
It's like you and I are on sort of the same wavelength, Angelica.
I wasn't sure
and-
if he'd know or not.
Daiwaren is kind of looking at you all with a little bit of a stricken expression.
How do you spell his name, by the way?
D-A-E.
Oh, I got that way wrong.
Me
Yep.
too.
W-A-R-I-N.
W-A-R-I-N.
Daiwaren.
I didn't get
Yes.
like a single letter right somehow, guys.
Elvish names,
No idea. Okay, sorry, continue.
Elvish names. No, it's fine. Yeah, he's looking at you all with kind of a stricken expression. He's looking like really, like he's wringing his hands, and he's looking really emotional. And before he gets a chance to speak up, another man enters the room. at a very brisk pace. And this man is older. You know, he looks old, and he has kind of a very poised and regal countenance as he walks in. And he has kind of a little bit of like a stern expression, stern kind of angular face. But he comes into the room and he says, what is this? What is this now? About help? Something about help? Are you here about the murders that have been happening?
Most definitely.
Hello, my name is Leonis Quirn.
How do you spell that?
Leonis.
Oh, I could have gotten that one.
Yeah, that
Okay.
one was easier. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thanks, Bay Warren.
Day Warren with a D.
Whatever. I even got that wrong when you told me. All right, whatever. I give up.
So I'll introduce us all again, but this time I'll
Yeah.
bring out the medallion that Corellin gave me to see if that holds more sway with him.
Yeah. Yeah, he looks at it and he kind of nods and says, a follower of the Archheart too, then, I see. Good. We need allies right now. What do you know about what's been happening?
We know that it's been striking elderly elves, and that they've been found in the streets with all of their juices sucked out.
You hear Daiwaren kind of hiccup a little bit, put a hand over his mouth as you say that.
Hey, what counts as elderly for an elf? Like, what's the?
Are you asking the DM or are you asking Leon?
I'm asking Leonis.
Okay. He kind of coughs a little bit and he says, well, I think that would be in the eye of the beholder, but this is irrelevant. Come, look. And he had brought in under his arm like this really big book, and he kind of comes over to the table now and he spreads it out and unfolds and spreads and unfolds, and it's just this really intricate drawing of a tree, just really detailed with many branches just spreading everywhere. And on the branches, you can see it if you look closer, are names everywhere. And he kind of takes a quill that he brought and he starts pointing, and he says, he starts with Lethanel Quinn. That my sister was murdered last night, and he draws a line through her name, very like with a big flourish. And he says, and my aunt, scratch, and her sister, scratch, and their father, scratch, and their uncle, scratch. And he just keeps going, scratch, 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 back and back and back and back and back, generation after generation. And he says, these murders are not happening to just any old elves that are walking the streets. They're happening to our family.
The Glassblades didn't mention anything about that.
Because the Glassblades are too foolish to follow an elven family line. He snaps the book shut.
Can you think of anything that might have happened along the line that might have made an enemy? And were they all born in Malaysmere?
As you say Malaysmere, he straightens and he looks at all of you, praises you, reads you. And he looks at Daiwaren and finally he'll go and take a seat on an armchair and set the book down. And he kind of very leisurely pours himself a cup of tea and he takes it in his hands and he sits back in the chair and he looks at all of you. And he says, what do you know of Malaysmere?
Not much.
Well, ancient elven civilization that is now just ruins and nobody knows or speaks of what happened to it?
So if I want you to make a history check with advantage.
Okay, here goes. Well, darn if those aren't two terrible rolls. Best one with my bonus is the 12.
Oh, it's not bad. Watching Leonis as he fixes himself a cup of tea and sits back in the chair, and watching his expression change as he looks at you, seeing that curiosity, that intelligence in his eyes, you have the sudden realization that you have met this man before.
Oh, snap.
And you can't quite remember the details of the conversation, but you remember this man's passion for the subject. And you remember that he taught you a lot a long time ago.
I'm just going to roll into that then. Zoph's going to lean forward and say, it seems like you know quite a bit about the subject of Malaeusmere, if I had to guess.
Who knows?
And if you think it's somehow connected to this, that's something I'd very much like to hear.
I have spent my life since leaving Malaeusmere trying to connect the dots about what happened that day. It was over 250 years ago now. We were all going about our business in our beloved city in the woods, when suddenly there was a loud explosion. And everything was covered in purple mist. Later, we learned that those who were closest to the explosion died in seconds. So those of us farthest away managed to make it out with our lives. My family and others escaped to the northeast and wandered for days, weeks, starving, cold, shaken, till the kind dwarves of this fine city let us into their doors. Let us build a new life here. Those who were in the city and survived the blast, well, no one knows really for sure what happened. But people who have gone back to investigate have witnessed strange and dangerous things in the ruins of the city. Creatures altered by cursed magics. He sits back. I have been working very closely with the people of this city, the Woodset auditors mainly, to fund investigations. We have lost many people in those ruins. All I've been able to figure out is that the source must have come from a lab. One of the many that was testing ancient artifacts. That's all I know. Now, it is a fact that every member of my family that has been killed in these last few weeks were survivors of this event.
That brings me to my next question. obviously, there can't, well, perhaps there can. Do you have a list of, I guess, just your family members who survived the incident? Any who are still with the living?
That list grows shorter by the day. But I can get that for you.
Are they all living here? Close?
Well, yes, those of us that still live are here.
Okay.
Within the estate.
I have a couple of questions, and and I mean no offense with you.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
I guess first off, are you sure that these were murders? Because we've dealt with something kind of like this, and when you talk about how you were handling these ancient artifacts, it really just set off these alarm bells in my mind of this job we already did.
He holds
That kind
up,
of involved a disease.
he holds up his hand and he says, "My family had nothing to do with these, with the lab and the research. This was members of our city long ago, research teams, and this was not caused by my family."
No, I know. But you said you're working on recovering some of these artifacts from that lab, right?
I'm working on trying to discover the source of the curse so that I might find a way to remove it and cure the wood.
Okay. So I guess my second question is, does anybody know that you are trying to do that? Like, how public is that?
Question.
When you say that, Daiwarin kind of looks over at his uncle and he looks at you, Easter, and he's like, "The whole bloody family knows.
But like outside the family?
Not a secret." And Leonis is like, "No, well, I do not hide my work or my research. No, I have worked with many people in the city for this."
You mentioned a Woodset authority?
Woodset auditors.
Auditors?
Yes.
What is that?
They're a team of mercenaries, adventurers, people who go into these ruins to research or investigate or find treasure or what have you. They work for coin, but they have been marginally successful, which is better than most people I hire.
So they brought you back some artifacts, but you haven't been able to glean any further information out of it?
That's correct. Nothing useful. Nothing that would explain why my family is dying.
Next question back on that topic. If you're aware that it's your family that's being targeted, what precautions are you and your family currently taking? And how can we help you shore those up to make sure that this doesn't, happen any further?
Well, unfortunately, half the family doesn't believe me that it's only our family being targeted. So I've been having trouble convincing them to stay indoors. As you can tell, my dear sister, who passed last night, thinks I'm a fool, wants me to move on with my life.
Well,
I don't know what kind of precautions you can take against stubborn old elves who are set in their ways. I'm not afraid of death.
By now they can't feel like it's an accident and random.
You would think so.
If when you create that list of names of your family within the city that are, still with the living, if you could put stars by the ones who continue to go out and about at night, and things like that, that'd be helpful.
He nods. I might need a day or two to do this for you, but I can put that together.
Bonks has his notebook and he's writing something. And then when he's done, he shows it to Zoph.
Zoph takes a look and reads the message that, just came flying through the ether. Let's see.
Ether.
Is the message, should I show my teeth now?
It is not. Yeah, Zoph looks back at the man and says, and this is something that I hope this isn't causing you to recall a horrible memory or anything like that, but since we don't have too many resources who were, present at Malaismere when the event happened, what happened to those who were in the mists, close to the epicenter of the event? How did they die? I guess what physical signs were there on their bodies, when they were later?
Well, anyone who was close enough to witness it did not survive. And there were no remains. So we have concluded this means they must have been incinerated or otherwise disintegrated.
Or teleported somewhere?
Perhaps.
What about those slightly further from the epicenter? You mentioned that those who were, close to it died instantly, but were there others who were sort of a medium distance away who died not long after?
Well, those who were of, and he kind of chuckles, sort of a medium distance away, were changed.
Mm.
They are no longer who they used to be. They are no longer of their right minds.
And where are they now?
Well, if they are still alive, they are still wandering the ruins of our old home. As far as I'm aware.
Gotcha.
Any idea of the number?
The number of
Of the mad ones?
he kind of shakes his head. He's like, hundreds, thousands. It is not to be known. It was a very large city. The grandest of elvish cities in Exandria.
Oh, such a sad tale.
Indeed.
But on the brighter side, it looks like you've made a wonderful union here. Made the best of a situation.
Yes, well, life goes on, and we were lucky enough to find a community that accepted us with open arms. It's been
Very lucky indeed.
a little bumpy, but the formation of the diarchy has worked out in our favor so far. Everyone seems to be getting along quite well.
That's something. And the elves coming from Malaismere to here was the inciting incident for forming the diarchy, right?
Yes, that is correct, yes.
That could be a connection. I know that, well, I mean, maybe it's not directly connected to this, but we did see a caustic heart rally, talking about unfairness within the diarchy. So I know that it's not a perfectly peaceful political sphere at the moment.
Well, what political sphere is?
Well, this is true enough, but there could be
My
a connection.
family is not the only family. We are among the survivors. We are not the only survivors.
Hmm.
Most of all of the elves here can draw their roots back to Malaismere.
Okay, so why you have this list in your head, I'm going to ask about numbers again. How many do you think are at risk right now that you're going to be putting on your list? Just so
How
we
many of
can
us are left?
get an idea.
Less than a dozen, I think,
Oh dear.
myself included.
Are you eating a lot of like delivery right now? Because I would if I were you.
He actually does laugh at that. He just starts laughing. Noted. I'll see what I can do. And he looks at Daiwern, who's kind of like,
That's a
yes,
little
uncle. Yes,
too
uncle.
on point right now.
Listen, I didn't say the thing I was going to say, which is, gosh, I can't believe all these people are just ignoring the public safety out on the streets and putting their own personal liberty above that. What is wrong with them? If we want to get
Seems
real
so
on the nose,
unrealistic.
yeah.
That doesn't seem like it would actually happen in real life.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
I'm happy to
Well-
answer any questions that you might have, and I do appreciate any help you can offer us.
Yes, you've given us a lot to think about, and I'm sure we'll be having a meeting of the minds about this and forming some kind of plan very soon. And we thank you for all of your input, and I'm very sorry for your loss once again. Your tea is amazing, by the way.
Thank you. Ulayra keeps us pretty well stocked.
Ether has had so much tea today now that she's like vibrating.
Well, some of it's herbal tea. It's not caffeinated.
The business
All
tea
right.
is surely decaf.
Yes. Or
Or
surely
not,
calf.
for
Surely calf. I think you'd
Yeah.
need to caffeinate. All right. So if there's nothing else you would like to do here, no other questions you have?
If there's like a moment where everyone in our group is heading to leave, where Zoph might hang back a second.
Zoph wants to hang back with Leonis.
Yeah.
Because I think what's going to happen is when you guys get up to leave, Leonis offers to walk you out. So if you want to hang back a little bit as you guys are all walking out, you can totally do that. But he's going to escort you out.
Yeah, Zoph was kind of looking for a moment where
Yeah, you can catch him and hold him back for a second
okay,
and let the others
just for a
walk.
second.
Yeah. He looks at you curiously.
Oh, it's well, it's nothing to do with, you know, the previous discussion, but did you ever know a woman named Jelena?
Jelena. That name does sound familiar.
She would have been a drow woman from the dynasty.
Yes. Yes, came by about 30 years or so ago, perhaps.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. Lovely woman. Very intellectual. Yes, I remember now. He smiles. We had a nice chat over tea. She had some interesting ideas and questions about Molaesmere. Of course, I love to talk about it. So
Yes. Well, I mean, the little bit I know about Molaesmere, I learned from her, and well, I gathered you're probably the person she learned it from.
you know. Yes, she had many questions. And she intended to go into the ruins herself, brave woman. So she was arming herself with as much knowledge as she could. She actually
believe she did go in.
She accompanied the auditors, I believe, on one of their missions. But she didn't stop by after that. I wasn't worried about her. She seemed like she should handle herself.
I'm a little relieved to know you didn't know her for very long. because it is my sad duty to inform you that she has died.
Oh. Well, the world has lost one of its brightest stars.
Zoph tears up a little bit at that.
Yeah.
Well, she lives on in many ways. Anyways, that's all I wanted to say. And Zoph will continue walking towards the entranceway.
He accompanies you. And he kind of brings you outside of the main home into the courtyard. And it's got, the courtyard is kind of surrounded by a fence, and it's got this nice kind of garden with this really colorful looking subterranean flora. And he steps out and he just says, I want to thank you again for offering to help us. I feel, and he stops. And he kind of turns, and you guys all sense the air getting very cold.
Perception check.
Get down,
make
Mr.
your
President.
perception check. Make your perception check. Get down, Mr. President.
I'll make one too.
It's not great. I'm rolling so poorly tonight.
Oh, not as bad as me.
Not as bad as me.
The Zach
Where is
mocking
it?
voice.
I've only got a 10.
17.
6.
Dirty 20.
Oh shoot.
Dirty 20. All right. So anyone who rolled above wait, what? Anyone who rolled above a 10. We'll see this.
A 10 or above, or above a 10?
10 or above.
Yes,
You
made
can
the
see
cut.
this, though. You
Dang
can make
it.
the cut. I am going to switch you guys to a map, but I have to make sure everything is on the token layer.
snap,
so you
it's a
can
map.
See it. Oh, hey, this is
Exciting.
not the thing I thought we were going to do today.
Oh,
It's a good thing. So
This
if you
is a
remember
cool map.
your class feature.
oh, yeah.
Tell me when you're ready to
Wait,
have me
just a
switch it over.
second.
Yep.
Did I fucking select tool? Okay, no, that is on the. I switched you over, and then I was like, oh no, is that thing on the GM layer? Is that on the token layer? No. Okay, yeah, we're good. Switch over.
Okay.
Yeah, so you guys are out on the steps, and Leonis, who I have misspelled his name on his token, just noticed.
We can't see it, so don't worry about it.
Oh, okay. I thought, okay, never mind. Steps kind of to the front step, and you all feel this kind of chill, and you all look around suddenly, and about 15 feet in front of Leonis, you can see this spectral white head with this flowing white hair coming up from the floor. And she opens her mouth and lets out a horrible wail. And I need everyone, as I move this token to the token layer so you guys can see her, whoop, to make a Constitution saving throw.
Should we just start shouting them out?
24.
24,
15.
15,
16.
16.
17 for me, and something pretty bad for Riot. A 3 for Riot.
Okay. This creature lets out this horrifying wail, and you all feel in your bones, this is it. And I need all of you to take 10 psychic damage as
Oof.
this rattles through your bodies.
Wow, none of us saved.
I was
You
like
look,
half of my current hit points.
you all saved.
Oh.
Riot
Oh.
did not,
Oh no.
and neither did Leonis.
Oh,
And you can see maybe Easter's distracted because Riot falls limp,
Mhm.
drops to 0 hit points, and Leonis falls dead onto the ground. And I'm going to need everyone to roll initiative.
All right.
Hmm.
Oh no.
Wow.
Good thing I just made friends with him.
I was just gonna say, good thing you had your tete-a-tete.
That was your last chance to talk to him, so I'm glad you took that chance. Okay.
I'm gonna go steal his research.
Okay. I'm sure that they will let you have it. Cool, 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 cool. Oh, I messed up. I forgot to say one thing that was very important to say before this whale happens. Because otherwise, how the fuck are you going to have any clues? Okay, sorry. Sorry. So what happens is this woman comes up from under the ground. I'm retconning a minute. And Leonis sees her. And there's this moment where ice fills your veins. And he whispers, Mira? And then she screams and he drops dead. And you're all like, oh God, my ears. It's time to fight something. Mira? M-Y-R-A.
Thank you.
Malleus Mira.
Mira!
Oh, I still thought it was a
Mira?
bread like spreading thing. Malleus smear.
Mira? All right, 25
was-
to 20s.
Sorry, 1 second. That was 10 damage on a pass, right?
Yes.
Okay, so even
Everyone
if
who passed.
Riot,
Everyone who passes.
even if Riot passed, you would not have been up. Yeah, okay.
Sorry. Yeah. On a pass, you take 10.
Mhm.
On a fail, you drop to 0.
Yeah, cool.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, 25 to 20. 20 to 15.
19.
15 to 10.
14.
14. Wow, nobody rolled really well except for Zoph. Bonks was 10. What did you get, Easter? Sorry, you cut out.
Oh, a 6.
Still better than Mira.
Good.
Shoot.
Yeah, she rolled real bad. That's okay. She's like, my work here is done. All right, so I'm gonna actually
Just Mario pipes into the ground. It's like, get
I'm
back
actually
here.
gonna pull this out so that I can look at that in a minute. And yeah, so Zoph, you are up first.
Oh no. I haven't thought
What
this
would you
through
like
yet.
to do?
I'm torn between two things because this creature just did a murder, so
Yep, certainly did.
I could feel like, and I'm hurting pretty bad, so I feel like I should probably hurt it back too. But,
Oh,
but also,
before anything happens, before anything else happens, I need all of you to roll wisdom saving throws.
Mm.
I'm just gonna make you do it right now, and then we will figure it out later.
16 for me.
Okay, you are fine.
14 for Easter.
How much for Easter?
14.
14. You're good.
Also 14.
Okay, you're good. What was
Dirty
Angelica?
20.
Okay, you guys are all good.
Nice.
That's not going to be a problem.
Not frightened.
All right, I'm going to turn these stupid auras off because they're in the way of my life. Oh, you can't see them anyway. Doesn't
Nope.
matter.
Cannot see them.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. All right, I'm going to keep them on then. Okay.
No, I can
Okay,
see him.
yep.
Ah.
So, no.
I will just say you should have seen like how many auras were on like
Oh,
the
Jesus.
Nasheen battle map.
I
way
set
back
this
when.
map up.
I think you showed
set
us,
this
didn't
map
you?
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you did. No, I set this map up like maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago because I wasn't sure when this was going to happen.
Mhm.
And it's long enough ago that I forgot the settings. And I was like, wait, what? Can you see that? Wait, no, is she on the right layer? Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. So
Okay.
she did a murder.
Yeah, she did. And also her scream hurt real bad. But
Her
then
scream hurt real bad, and she
The-
was terrifying to look at, but you're not scared.
I go to the door behind us.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I
Just
didn't add
open it.
HP to your tokens this time.
Open it slightly and shout in, everybody stay inside, and then close it shut,
Okay.
just so no one comes running.
Okay.
And
I'll
then
let that be your bonus action
okay.
because I'm nice to you. I'm a nice guy.
Oh, she's on the. Okay, great. Yeah, this is good. Finish your
Oh,
turn.
From
no,
Wait,
there-
now we're on the
Murdered
other side of
someone.
the pendulum. Oh no!
I
It was
just
your
fucking murdered
NPC though.
someone,
It's
so-
not one
All
of
right,
us.
I'm gonna continue to be
like
not
him.
helpful because I cast detect thoughts.
Detect thoughts.
Yes.
Oh shoot.
So it
thoughts.
works on creatures unless they have an intelligence of 3 or lower, or if it doesn't speak any language.
Mhm.
But otherwise, I can learn the surface thoughts.
Okay. Shit, why didn't I plan for this? I planned for all these other NPCs. I did not plan for her to be detect thoughted. Yeah, so immediately you get the surface thoughts, and her surface thoughts are another quern down.
Ooh, ominous.
Oh.
Okay. That's my utterly unhelpful turn.
Yep. Okay. Right. So where is my note that has, there it is. Angelica.
Oh, good. All right. I'm going to set up my my spirit totem of a bear.
Nice.
So everybody gets 9 temp HP. Set that, and then I'll go to, and I'll set it. Let's see, make a shape. Where's everybody? Let's put it just right here. So how do I? Okay, I'm just gonna go. Okay, there's my shape. It is.
It looks just like it.
Okay,
It looks
it's
just
a
like it. It's
bear.
perfect.
Whatever. All right, so
Oh my goodness.
that's my bonus action. So for my action, I'm going to change into wild shape. I did it in the right order that time, right?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Good job. Good
All
job.
right. So I was just looking. Let me mark it off. I was just looking to see what I want to be. Something to get her. Oh, what can she not get me? How about a giant wolf spider?
Ooh.
Ooh, sure. Sure.
Okay. But I can't attack this turn, right? Because I just
It would be your action, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
I
your
just lost
action
shape.
was to transform. Yeah, so you are.
But I
Good.
You can
helped
still move.
by given temp HP.
Yes. Okay. Temp HP, wild shape into a giant wolf spider. And it is Bonks' turn.
Bonks will put his glasses away, fly into a rage, and he will run at this woman, this ghost woman, actually right next to her, and he will give her a bite.
Okay, make an unarmed strike.
Okay.
Okay,
Because
you have advantage. You have advantage on strength checks.
That's not an
too,
attack,
and
though.
things. Yeah, I know, but I'm just reminding because I forgot to say it.
That's cocked. Okay. All right. My attack roll is a. Do I get? Oh, it is on. Okay, on our strike is +6, so that's a 25.
25 to hit.
Arr.
That hits.
You bite the
That hits.
ghost.
Ow.
You're biting a ghost. Yep.
All right. What do I do? I roll something?
I mean, do you have like unarmed strike is
It's
is
just
it on your sheet?
yeah.
It should just have like a damage number,
Right.
right?
Okay,
It's like your strength
So
mod.
you're saying that if I the thing didn't actually give me any bite
It didn't. No.
thingy. Okay.
You think
Alright.
you have a bite attack, but it's just an unarmed
I
strike.
did have a bite attack. It just did 5 damage.
It did 5 damage. It
Yeah.
did less than that because she is corporeal.
Mhm.
It did some damage.
So you take a bite out of her, Arr. and then because it's an attack, the spirits fly out. I don't know how to roleplay this, but yeah, they fly out. They're harassing out of
You
his
just,
mouth
like,
or something.
latch on, it's like,
Yeah, and they fly out of his mouth, and they bite too.
Like ghosts with ghosts.
Yeah, so I mean, so that's Bonks' turn.
yeah, works.
McGruff.
Works.
McGruff.
All right.
Take him.
Easter.
Easter's gonna hex the ghosty thing, and hex its dexterity,
Okay.
Dexterity.
and then cast Eldritch Blast. Which
And it's
I-
dex checks, not saving throws, right?
Right. I'm thinking like if for any reason we have to grapple this thing, Bonks now has advantage on his athletics checks, and it would have disadvantage on its acrobatics checks.
Okay.
So let's see.
And what are you doing?
I'm
Eldritch
casting
Blast?
Eldritch Blast. Yeah, Eldritch
Okay.
Blast.
Eldritch Blast.
Ooh, 19 plus some stuff.
Yeah, that hits.
Yeah. Okay.
What kind of damage does it do? Force?
This is force, I believe.
Okay.
I always forget. But yes. And then the hex does necrotic.
Okay, well, don't roll for the hex.
Okay, well, I rolled both at the same time, but it does 10 force damage.
Yeah, the necrotic damage does not do anything.
Okay, well, that was a waste of a slot. I
Well,
probably should have
Yes,
thought about
use
before,
all,
Yeah.
use
before
all of
I
your
should have thought of that
slots.
beforehand. So it's like, why am I doing necrotic damage to you? Yes, that was dumb. Anyway.
Use all of your spell slots. Please
Um,
do.
Let's see. I'm gonna move to.
Okay.
I'm gonna move around here. And that's it. That's the end.
Okay. It is her turn now. She did not like getting smacked in the face by the thingamabob. So,
They're called teeth.
yep. No, the Eldritch Blast, I believe, is what I was trying to say. So she is actually going to fly away from you, Bonks.
Opportunity bite.
Yep,
Yeah.
you can do that.
I'm totally gonna do that. I'm actually gonna swing at her with a weapon though, seeing as
Yeah.
the bite I didn't really get much purchase, didn't taste
Yep.
very good either.
Yep.
But yeah, that is a 14 to hit.
That hits.
This is a silvered maul. I don't know if
Is
that
it
silvered thing does
Still,
anything.
it's silvered, but it's not a magical
It
weapon.
is
It's
not a
just
magical
silver.
weapon. So, ooh, that's pretty good though. That is 13 damage. Bonk.
What's half of 13, y'all? 6?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
6 damage.
So I bonk her, and then she goes.
And she just seems to just float past kind of right through your arm as you move your sword through her, whatever, maul? Silvered maul? Yeah. Yeah. It's just like, so you're not sure. You think you've got her maybe a little bit. And she backs up and she takes off of her back a spectral longbow. And she aims at Easter and she says in Elvish, does anyone speak Elvish?
I do speak Elvish.
Easter does.
I do
having,
not.
Having grown up in the Feywild.
Yeah, I figured you did, if anyone.
I do too.
Okay, so Angelica and Easter can understand her as she says, "You shall not keep me from my vengeance." And she fires a spectral arrow at Easter. Come on, Matthew Mercer. Don't fail me now.
Please fail.
Failure.
Or do.
Totally failed me. That's only a 9.
Yeah. Good job, Matt Mercer. Yes. Keep it up.
Only a 9, so it misses. And then let's see. She only moved I believe she only moved 20 feet, so she's going to. No, she's going to stay there. All right, it is Zoph's turn.
You know we're gonna do it. We're delving deeper.
Okay.
So she has to make a. Where did it go? Intelligence saving. No, that's wrong. Wisdom saving throw.
A wisdom saving throw.
This spell is like a mile long.
What's,
So
what's your
Yeah.
DC?
15.
Okay, she fails.
Okay.
Mhm,
This
mhm.
is the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. If it fails, I gain insight into its reasoning, if any, its emotional state, and something that looms large in its mind, such as something it worries over, loves, or hates. I wonder what that one will be.
So the reasoning. She's out for revenge against the Quirn family, which I think you probably have figured out from what she's been saying. Her
Yep.
emotional state, she is enraged. She
Yep.
is crazed. It's actually mad. She's mad. She's insane. You can't make sense of her emotional state because it's just all over the place. Her, what was the third one? Something that she worries about,
Something
or
that looms large in its mind, such as something it worries over, loves, or hates.
so the message you get there is, I will make them all pay for leaving me behind.
Mm. Okay, that's all good to know.
Mhm. Okay. Anything else on your turn? That was your action, I believe.
Yes, hold on. So emotions. I'll shout. Why couldn't you leave with them? And try and direct her thoughts for next turn.
Okay.
Then let me just double check. I don't have any bonus actions. I don't think I do. Nope. Oh, actually. Where is she now? She's way over there.
Yeah, she's in the corner.
But how far away is that? Because if I go 5, 10, 15, 20, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Nope, she's way far away. Okay, I'll just go there for now, to that corner of the patio.
Okay.
Yep, that's my turn.
Okay. Angelica, what would you like to do?
All right. Spider Lika
Spider Lika.
can travel 40 feet.
Excellent.
So
Get up on her.
So I'm gonna go there. And my attack, let me get the page back up. My attack is a bite. So,
Now the question for the other DMs in this chat, which is like all of you at this point. Transformed druids, are their attacks considered magical?
There is a class feature that makes their attacks magical, if I recall.
But she
They
doesn't
aren't
have
by
it yet.
default.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
it's
Good to
like
know.
a 6 or 7 level thing, I think.
Yeah.
okay.
What I thought.
So it is a 16 to hit.
That hits.
Okay. So it's 1d6 plus 1. So that's 4 piercing damage. And she has to make a Constitution saving throw.
Okay.
And the DC is 11,
What
unfortunately.
kind of those? Nope, she fails.
Yay.
I've not been
So
rolling well
then
today, you guys.
it's
Nice DM.
2d6 poison damage, which is 9.
Okay, don't worry about rolling that because it has no effect.
If the poison damage, okay, then never mind. I can't.
Yep.
Don't.
Yep.
Well, shoot. Then I picked the wrong animal. Okay.
She is immune to poison damage. So you get her with the bite a little bit less than you thought it would, and the poison seems to have no effect on her. She just bares her teeth right
Well,
back at you.
I was hoping I could spin a web, but it doesn't look like I can in this shape. I can climb.
You're
really
thinking of like
well.
the other giant spider.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I could go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Bonks.
Bonks trundles over next to Angelica, says, "Nice bite, Angelica." And then I think he's gonna go. What's the range on your totem?
That's
The
right.
range on the totem is a good question. I got it right here. 60 feet.
60 feet. Okay, so that's plenty.
So it's
That's the
pretty
much-
entire
Sorry, no.
battlefield, basically.
No,
Sorry. It's an aura of 30 feet.
You can
Around
place
the
it
point.
60 feet from where you
Yeah,
are, but yeah.
sorry. I always get those
So,
two confused. My bad.
Okay, you can't move it, right? That's okay.
Can, I believe, on her turn.
Yes, I can.
As a bonus action?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you want to move it on your turn?
Since the fight's moving down, I guess I'd better, and I can move it 60 feet.
I don't know if that's true.
I'm
It
gonna
will
roll a
say-
check.
It really doesn't.
It should say like maybe 30 feet or
I don't. On my little cheat sheet here, it doesn't really say how far I can move it.
Bonus
Okay.
action, you can move the spirit up to 60 feet to a point you can
okay.
see.
It is 60 feet. Cool. So yeah, move that spirit totem wherever you want.
Okay, so
But anyone who leaves the range loses their hit points, or do they get to keep their hit points?
I think they keep those.
I think they keep that and they lose the strength.
They just lose the
Bonus.
strength thing.
which is okay. So if I move
It's
it
not okay.
there,
It left its tail behind.
I think that's
I'm going to put
Uh,
that in the
I rolled a
tail.
21 to hit with my maul again.
that hits.
Okay. And that is same damage last time, 13. And
Is
once
6.
again, the spirits start assaulting her and getting in her way.
Oh, that's right. She should have had disadvantage. On
Yeah,
these rolls.
that was my bad. I should have reminded you. I forgot.
Well,
but she missed anyways.
anyway.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I thought about it. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
Nope. All right. Is that your turn?
That is my turn.
Such a quick turn.
I know.
I'm so impressed.
Let me play Xant
So
again.
impressed. Yeah.
No.
No.
Ethan says no. Fine. I will not.
All right, Easter, you are up.
Issa's going to move down here, which I think is 5 spaces. And I'm going to try and hit with an Eldritch Blast again.
Hmm.
Does actually I have to do the math on this one. Does a 14 hit?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Then I do 7 force damage, and I would like to push her up to the space right above Ox.
Okay. Boop. All right.
That's it for
Anything
me.
else? Okay. Then it's her turn. She is going to again. I think she's going to come this way. Let's see, 10, 20, 30, 40. I think
I'm
that
gonna
was
make
40
a
feet.
opportunity attack if that's okay.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, that's 40 feet.
That is a 22 to hit.
That hits.
So that is a little bit less. 11 damage? No.
5.
Sorry. 12 damage.
6. All right. She is looking very upset. She's been upset the whole time, though, granted. Yeah, so she moves up there and she is going to, I think she'll shoot at Bonks this time.
Okay.
Because you've been swinging that maul at her and she's like, leave me alone. Damn it. I need to put these dice in jail. That's terrible. That's a 13. Man, she's not even a threat. She's just like floating around screaming
Well,
at people.
that first attack did a lot. So, I mean, that was pretty threatening. No,
Yeah,
no,
and then
Charles.
Angelica
No, please.
immediately heals you guys. So
Well, with
it's
temp HP, but
okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Come on,
It's fine. My scary monster is still scary, all right? That's her
He's still
turn.
scared.
I mean, we're not scared.
You're not
We
scared.
passed all those. Yeah, we passed that no
Exactly.
problem. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I'm
I've
saying.
seen ghosts
It's
before.
fine. It's fine.
You ever fought a ghost? Yeah, all the time.
Yeah, all the time. So
Tolkien helps us all the time.
Okay. Zoph is going to let's see.
right.
Oh shoot, I just closed roll 20. That was not what I meant to do. I was switching
Oh,
tabs.
so-
I'm coming back. I'm coming back.
okay.
Glad I'm not the only one.
Zoph is going to. Does it look like she's flying towards the door to like
Oh
go in
yeah.
there? Okay.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna live to regret this. Zoph runs back in front of the door, kind of throws their arms out wide, in front of her and says, why couldn't you leave with them? What if they just needed to get out and couldn't find you? Why are you so angry? And we'll try to delve deeper with the detect thoughts again.
Okay. Does she have to roll again?
Yes. I
Or
think
is it
so.
once she fails, she's failed?
I think it's each turn.
And it was intelligence? No.
Wisdom.
Wisdom?
Yep.
DC 15?
Yep.
I rolled my big die. Still failed.
Yes.
Still failed. No, this is
Uh,
good. I wanted her to fail. I wanted her to fail.
So
Why
again, the
couldn't
three
you leave
things
with them?
are
So
insight
you
into
get-
reasoning, emotional state, and then something that looms a large.
I'm gonna do a little bit of a creative answer here to this. You get floods of images in your head. Suddenly, memories, purple mist flooding through trees, beautiful, healthy trees that are turning purple and being corrupted by this. You hear the screams, the shrieks of people all around you. You see people fleeing in every direction. You see a woman, a young woman, elvish woman, tripping and falling to her knees, gagging, coughing, shrieking, holding her hand out, watching as she's left behind. You see her collapse into the ground as everyone continues to run away.
It was chaos. No one could have done more for you. Stop hurting those who survived just for surviving, Zoph says, as you can see they're shaking, but they stand in front of her. They are just
Okay.
trembling.
Okay. Make a persuasion check with disadvantage.
Yeah. I'm going to, oh, is it an action? Let me check. I have a feature. It might be an action though. When I make a charisma, intimidation, or persuasion check. Okay, so it doesn't say anything about an action. I'm going to use my Dragonborn ability, Forceful Presence, to give myself advantage to cancel out the disadvantage.
Sure.
You mean Dragon Bear?
Yeah, Dragon Bear. That's right. Well, that's a good roll. 16.
You're talking at her, trying to reason with a mad woman, and you know it. And you can see her face is not, there's no trace of her humanity left, for the lack of a better word, even though she was an elf.
Or elf-manity.
Her elf-manity. Her elf-womanity.
Her total elfishness.
She is a monster. She is a ghost. She hears you. And a little bit of the ferocity leaves her expression. But it's unclear what she'll do next. Angelica, it's your turn.
All right. Okay, so spider sensei. Let's see how many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. I can go that far, I think.
Sure.
And I'm gonna move the little spirit again. Let's see. Here. And well, it's not gonna do any good. But we'll try to bite her again. Maybe every little bit helps.
Bonks cheers for you.
Nope, I miss. It's a 3 + 6. I miss.
Yep, that's a miss. All right, that was movement, action, bonus action. Bonks?
Bonks will move up here right behind Angelica and throw his long arms out and try and grapple her to stop her from proceeding through the door.
Can you make just an intelligence check for me?
I'm real smart. Let me see.
An
Hopefully.
intellectual, in fact.
As-
His mind is
What
as
does he
sharp
need to make
as
it?
his teeth.
Okay.
So actually, he makes an intellectual.
I got a 7 + 0.
Oh,
Okay, yeah, this sounds like a great idea. Go ahead.
I'm doing it. It is a great idea. Yeah. So that is. I know this is gonna fail, but I got a dirty 20.
I'm gonna roll just for shits and giggles. She has disadvantage on acrobatics. Just for shits and giggles, and she would fail.
Hmm.
You absolutely wrap your arms around her.
Yep.
Your arms just go right
Okay.
through her.
It does still count as attack, so the spirits still fly out and also try and bite and grab her like they should. But
That's fine.
yeah.
That's fine. Fine. Easter?
Woof. Okay. Easter, seeing she's the only one around here who's doing any damage, gets set to do some more. I was gonna shatter. Now that seems like a bad idea. I'm gonna do another Eldritch Blast.
Bread and butter.
And I roll an 8.
That misses.
Yeah.
All right. Then it is Mira's turn. She stands there and she looks at you, Soph, and she says, I can never forget the pain of being abandoned by my family. And she sinks into the floor. Angelica, Bonks, if you would like to make an opportunity attack, you can.
Why not?
I think I should. Yeah, she's gonna keep killing. So, yep, I'm doing it. I'm doing a reckless attack too.
So you can too if you want to bonk her with your staff or whatever.
Go for it, Barbsard.
I'm not
This-
going to.
This Wizarian is attacking and hitting, I think, with a 23.
Yeah, that'll hit.
Got an 18.
That'll also hit.
12 damage.
6.
4 damage.
And she sinks into the floor and doesn't come back up.
She did Mario pipe away.
We had better get in that house right now.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yep. So we rush into the house.
Okay.
Bonks' mouth shuts.
Okay. All right. Well, we are out of initiative for now.
You want me to close the map?
Yes, please. You go back into the house. What do once you're inside? Leonis is still lying a shell of
yeah.
himself on the stairs in front of
Yell
the
for
house.
Dermot.
Um,
Don't
I
ask me.
tried. I tried.
Sherwood.
Darren.
Darren.
Um, Can
Bonks, could you-
Angelica
Oh,
go
go
ahead?
ahead.
Can Angelica go over to Leonis and try to do healing word on him?
You can try.
Okay, she will.
No, I haven't been making. No, he's. Why don't you, before you waste a spell slot, unless that's what you want to do, you can make a
Oh.
medicine check.
Medicine check.
Wait, was
okay.
he not dead this whole time?
We don't know.
Oh,
We
I
haven't
thought
checked.
because I thought she said he's dead, and I'm like, okay, well he's dead, so
I
there's no
did
reason
say
to
he's
try and
dead.
there's no reason to
did
try
say
and
he's-
to stabilize him.
I
Then.
did say that, but you can check medicine check
Okay.
to make sure.
Okay.
Because it looked like he's pretty dead, but
Oh, okay.
Okay, I thought it was obvious
Well,
when you said that,
does
so
he
I
look?
didn't bother.
Does he look shriveled?
Make a
he
If he
medicine
looks
check.
shriveled,
Yeah,
Yeah, make a
might as
medicine
well.
check.
Yeah.
okay. All right,
medicine checks are free. Spell slots are not.
that's right. Okay, medicine check. That's a +6, so I got a 17.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so you, what does it look like as you do this medicine check on Leonis?
Well, I think Angelica would go over and hover over him and try to sense his breath and his aura first, and then check the pulse and stuff, the normal stuff.
Okay, yeah. And it's gruesome. His jaw is open in a scream of terror. His eyes are sunken. He's shriveled. He has no breath. He has no pulse.
Okay.
He is absolutely dead, and it breaks my heart.
Okay. So no reviving that one.
Bonks, could you grab him? We should probably bring him in.
Bonks nods and goes and retrieves him.
Easter's inside just shouting for Darwin.
Yeah. Daiwarin
Darwin.
comes running, and he says, I heard you yelling to stay inside. What happened? What? Oh my gosh.
She struck
She?
the spirit of a woman named Mira. She was angry at being left behind in Malaysmere. She was closer to the epicenter, and she died horribly
Mira.
there.
Mira.
Easter is like holding an action, like looking all around to see where she might strike from.
Okay.
Ready to cast. So
Yeah,
last in
make
case
that
she shows up.
perception check.
Okay. It's an 11.
Okay, you're keeping an eye peeled. You
Yeah.
don't see any sign of her yet.
Oh, yeah,
She's-
Angelica would have reverted back. That would be creepy if this giant spider is
Spider's
trying to
doing a medicine check.
Oh no!
I mean, he's dead. He doesn't care. But maybe before you come inside.
Giant spider comes up with
Yeah.
the dead body of
Angelica
his uncle on
starts
his
weaving
back.
a web on the ceiling.
Bonks
Oh
is like
my
carrying
gosh.
him, and then Angelica's on top of him. Like,
Oh my
Ew.
gosh, gross.
Sorry.
Yeah. So you explain what happened. Warren is very, very struck and confused, and then when he sees his uncle's body, he just bursts into tears. And he's just like, why does this keep happening? We didn't do anything. We didn't.
I tried to convince the spirit of that as well, and I'm not sure how much of it got through. She retreated, but she
And
did
you
say that
hear
she
the
would never
footsteps.
forget. Oh, okay.
You hear footsteps in the hall as you're talking. And another elf comes in. She's a woman who's tall, high cheekbones. She's got her dark hair kind of really pulled back in a tight, very sleek updo. She has brown eyes and slender spectacles. And she comes in a rush because she, is obviously responding to whatever the commotion is. And she walks up and she looks around and she's just demanding, what happened here? What is going on? Who are you people? And Daiwarin is helpless because he's just kind of sitting there sobbing into his hands. He's very, very pale.
We came here trying to stop the murders and we were too late for him.
Uncle! She runs over. How did this happen? Did you see it?
We saw
Did you
a ghost, a spirit.
tell me? Come.
You
come
know
inside,
more.
tell me everything.
Tell her.
Do you have the book? Your uncle showed us a book with a family tree. That will
family
make
tree.
the explanation easier, I think.
Daiwarin is like, yeah, he left it in the other room. Come on. Like brings you back to the sitting room. This other woman kind of rubs Daiwarin's back a little bit and follows you. She finds the book and she spreads it out.
Easter, I don't speak Elvish. Can you follow this line back and find her name? Mira, I think it was.
Yeah, I'll look for it.
Mira, you say?
Yes.
She looks down at the family tree and she pulls up her notes on the session so that she makes sure she gets her information correct.
Can I want to set the body down and also just like go on the prowl for this ghost thing.
Sure.
And take the maul out and get ready to and walk around slowly and look.
Yeah. Okay. She points on the tree to a name and it says Mira Quirn. And the date of death written under her name is over 250 years ago. And she says, I've never met this woman before, but she is my great aunt. Yes. How did you learn who she
Valora?
was? Yes. My apologies. My name is Valora, yes.
Your great aunt is angry about being left behind.
Left behind, but she perished. She perished in the fall of the
Mira.
city.
Mm-hmm. I probed into her mind, and I saw the incident. She was closer to the epicenter, and the mists, they consumed her, and she died there. And from her perspective, her family left her, abandoned her, and it's driven her to rage and vengeance. Her mind it's not rational at the moment. It's completely consumed by these violent emotions.
Well, what happened to her? Did you take care of it? Did she get away?
She did get away.
Then we are still at risk.
Yeah, I would not leave this house for anything if I was a Quirn.
I don't think this house is safe either. You saw how she stepped straight through the floor.
That was outside. Like as soon as Leonid, right? As soon as Leonid left, she struck.
But she was also headed for, the closed door I was standing in front of, intending to pass straight through it to get the rest of the family.
We don't know what would have happened.
Yeah.
He kind of is listening to this and nodding, and she says, I agree that this house is likely not safe, but we can seek shelter at the Barrel Sanctuary.
Yeah, get everyone together and we'll escort you there.
She nods. You seem to be here to help us, and yet I don't know who you are or why you're here. But thank you.
We're the Quatrefoils. I'm Zofdal Zephyrax. You can call me Zof. This is Angelica and Easter and Bonks. We got onto this incident because we were talking to the Glass Blades, trying to help them out and earn a little bit of money, but
Damsels finally did something right for a change.
well, it quickly became more personal. You see, Angelica here is a follower of Corellon, and
Well, then you
I-
would like to go to the Barrel Sanctuary too, I imagine.
and I knew your uncle,
I
or
see.
would he have been? Wait,
Yes,
yes.
Leonis is her uncle. Yes, yes. Very well. I shall gather the family. If you would, kind of looks at her brother, kind of doubtfully. I'll be back. And she just walks very briskly away. And Daiwarin is left with you, and he's just kind of sank down into one of the chairs, and he's just sitting there very quietly.
I'm gonna go follow her.
You're gonna follow her?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
I
mean,
don't feel like any of them should be alone.
Yeah, that's fair. And she will have to leave the house to go and gather the family from the other houses in the estate.
Mhm.
So she does this, and it takes probably the better part of an hour. She goes around knocking on doors, gathering families, some of them having small children, some of them having, all ranges. It's a big family.
What happened to Riot after?
Riot poofed out.
Oh, she
Riot's
poofs.
not
Okay,
around.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. She got the same treatment, terror drained,
Yeah,
and then poof.
I also want to suggest to Valoran. Did I get the name
Valora.
right? Thank you. That's so close. I'm sorry.
We'll get there one day.
I'm really
We'll get there
sorry.
one day. That was the easy name too.
I know. I want to suggest to Valora, maybe you shouldn't all hide in the same place and describe the attack as it happened.
Yeah. She says I understand your concern, but the Barrel Sanctuary is sacred ground. I
Oh.
don't think that if she is undead, as we assume she is, then we should be safe from her there.
Oh, all right then.
And so she gathers up a big group of relatives, about 50 people, give or take. And you guys are free to escort them back up through the Liberdisc toward the Barrel Sanctuary.
Okay.
The Barrel Sanctuary is a place that I have not fleshed out yet, so this is going to be interesting. It is a very massive temple within the Liberdisc, and it's built of, as you may guess, beryl. Very deep reds and greens, large stained glass windows.
I know the same thing,
Yes.
Nick. I did the same
Not
thing.
barrel,
Right.
Yeah.
barrel.
I was like,
I
wow,
get
that's
you.
impressive.
I gotcha.
Yep.
It's a temple to just like ale
Yeah,
Or Donkey Kong.
or Donkey Kong.
Exactly.
Barrels are full of bananas.
Temple to the monkey god.
Beryl.
I get you. There, I got it. I got
Okay,
it.
I was there with you from the start.
Okay, there is
I
a
kept
pattern to
hearing
the names.
arrow, Barrow. So there you go.
There's a pattern to the names in this city, and there are a lot of rock and mineral based names.
Mhm.
So keep that in mind. That'll help you understand me when I can't enunciate.
No, you said it perfectly well. I'm just real dumb.
Nah, we're all real dumb.
It was 50-50. Half of us
Yeah.
got it, half of us didn't. But,
Barrel. barrel. Anyway. Yeah, so it's this really, really pretty place made reds and greens, and you go in and it's very like wide open and peaceful. There's definitely enough area to host this family inside. The leader of the barrel sanctuary is, I have this person fleshed out so I can tell you about them. A non-binary elf whose name is High Conservator Bellis Zerthana. Yeah. They are also, yep, Bellas.
Nope.
Zerthana is Xyrthana.
Hang on, I'm gonna need the whole thing again. I missed everything.
Just pop it into the chat.
Yeah, just put it.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the chat
Thank
because you
you.
guys are dumb.
Whoa.
No, it's fair.
Okay.
Mean DM is back.
Yeah.
High Conservator Bellis Zerthana. They are also an elderly elf, an ancient elf, with soft blue eyes, also with the elvish cheekbones. They have pure white hair that is pulled up into a high ponytail, and their robes are pale yellows and greens. And they have a very solemn, stately countenance. And they exchange a few words with Valora, and they get the story, and they welcome the Quirn family into the temple for sanctuary. What would you guys like to do next?
We have one more elf we need to walk home.
That's what I was wondering if she was a member of the
Yeah.
family. I'm
If
not
she's-
sure that she is.
If she's not here, we don't need to do that.
Well,
But also, we promised her we'd come back and walk her home. So
yeah.
That's true.
We have
If
a
she
duty.
doesn't know, she's probably still really worried.
yeah,
But
I'd feel better if we went and walked her home.
Sure.
also, I was writing to Zoph about this, but he, the uncle said something a little contradictory, where he said that his family members are being targeted, but everybody can, what was it? How do you put it? Everyone
Yeah,
can draw
but
their roots back.
We've resolved that
So,
now
is
because
that-
yes, lots of families came from Malaesmere, but it was a specific elf in their family whose spirit was targeting their family.
Okay, so it is.
So
it
we've
is-
resolved it now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Got it.
Well, Smear was a
Yeah,
very
I mean, I
big
guess
city.
Zoph will give you a good explanation of everything they learned.
Yeah,
from
you
the
had an
text
hour to kind of
thoughts.
talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Moliasmere was a very big city. You get the impression that multiple, the survivors that came were from many different family lines.
Okay, that's good enough for me.
So the question is, do we want to go and try and put a resolution on this? Or do we entrust it to the High Conservator and their people?
I would love to follow this to the end, but I have no idea how to find the ghost.
Well, also,
I have a feeling
Sorry, go ahead, Zoph.
I have a feeling we might be able to get her attention if we went back to the estate. I'd imagine she's still lurking around there somewhere.
I was also gonna say, if we follow up with, what's her name, Ednis? Froth Tankard? She's all about
Not
getting
Frost
information.
Tankard.
Oh, I don't know. That's Nora.
That's Nora.
I'm sorry. What was it?
Frosthelm. It's very close.
Frosthelm. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
My bad.
It's close. It's close.
It's no.
I was just like, yeah, Frost Tinker. Yeah.
That's a dwarf name. So anyways, Ednis, she's all about getting information and paying for it, and so it's possible that if we come with something solid like this, that she can also help or get the city to aid in purifying or whatever the correct method is for getting rid of this kind of entity.
Even though Mira isn't solid.
I went while we're at the Barrel Sanctuary. Easter wants to look around the group that we brought in of the Quirn
Mhm.
and see if there's anybody roughly like her own height and build.
If
Oh.
any of them are Easter's height and build?
Yeah. So I'm wondering like if we can put together a disguise to trick Mara into attacking me back at the house.
Mira. y- Well, so this is the
Nick, I've
thing.
never seen you have this much trouble with names.
I know.
before.
It's not my
I
fault.
know,
I didn't do it this
it's bad.
time.
I mean,
I'm being
you
good- I'm
guys
being
did have
good.
a lot of names thrown at you today.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Why don't
I-
you make?
I do have the disguise self.
That would
Spell.
work. That would do it too.
Yeah, what I was gonna say is there are some of the younger generations,
Mhm.
especially the ones that have dwarvish blood in them, who are definitely closer to your height and build.
Mhm.
But they're the younger generations.
Yeah.
The elderly ones are all very much that kind of stereotypical tall, kind of bony, angular, kind of elvish stature. So it would be difficult to convince Mira to come after
Yeah.
one of the elderly ones.
But I think that Angelica's disguise self would be great because it's not a concentration. It won't drop during the fight. And it means we can keep her there, like keep trying to kill Angelica, who,
Mhm.
fingers crossed, is not going to go down in one blow. That's my plan. Let's take a short rest
I'm
first,
willing.
though.
Yeah, I'm willing.
I mean,
we could
it's pretty,
also
it's
we
pretty
could
late
also
at night, so
yeah, we could do a double part to this plan. We can in the morning we can rest and in the morning take the information to the captain and see what she says about what the city can do. And then, after that fully rested, head back to the estate and try this disguise plan.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea to me.
Are y'all down a lot of spell slots?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Not me, but
Let me see what I've got.
because none of my smells would have worked on her.
Poison smell didn't.
Yeah, that was the wrong.
But you know
creature.
that for next time now.
So I
Yes,
have
I do.
2 first level and 1 second level, and that's it. So, I mean, that would get me through, but
I think with a short rest, we could maybe do it tonight.
We'd
my
have to.
HP is more of the problem. I have
Yeah.
I have 11.
Mm-mm. Okay.
Well, I have 4 slots, so I can give you a healing word.
That would help.
Well, save your spells for now, because let's see. Do you have any hit dice?
I've used 2, and I was going to try and recover 2, but I could
Okay.
use another 2.
Yeah, let's try and take a short rest and see where we are. And if we roll badly, then we can just try this tomorrow.
Okay.
And the reason I'm saying all this is because like I feel like we're gonna have more fights tomorrow.
Yeah, that's true.
So if we can do this tonight on a short rest, I think that'd be great.
Okay. I will use some more hit dice then.
I'm also gonna use
Okay,
hit
I
dice.
think I will too.
Um,
So can we mark it?
the other thing.
yeah,
Yes.
you're in a safe place right now, so yes, you can take a short rest if you want.
If somebody could ask, oh geez, High Conservator Bellis X name X-Men. Maybe they have
Fauna.
some like holy water or something, or maybe they know a thing about, dealing with the undead. If they say they have sacred ground here, and maybe they can like give us something, so we can, since we're helping, their people. Maybe like if they have holy water, we can put on like my weapon, then maybe that'll actually be effective.
Yeah, is someone gonna ask her that? Are you gonna ask her that, Bonks?
could, but I was told to keep my mouth shut around elves. So I'm like asking our group and be like, Soph, you know, because I can't.
Go for it,
you know.
Bonks. It was
I
just
have
in the
permission?
situation. It was just in the situation where we were, visiting the bereaved. I was worried you were gonna scare them with your teeth.
Bonk says no to think about that, but he'll go ask the High Conservator.
Sure. Yeah. I think that's easy enough to do. High Conservator is very willing to give you holy water if that's going to help.
Okay. And I don't know. I can look it up, I guess. Holy water. Is that the right thing?
I am also looking it up.
Flask.
Flask.
Fiend or undead, it takes 2d6 radiant damage.
Yeah,
That
that
seems
would
like
help.
everything to me. So just one of them?
I
Takes an
think
hour
she
to perform.
could give you, yeah. She could probably give you one. I'm sorry, they could probably give you one.
Okay. How long does it last?
It's basically an improvised weapon that you throw.
What?
I think, what is it? Holy oil that you put on.
Oh no, the creating it takes an hour. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You splash
I
the
mean,
contents.
it's just
oh,
like,
you don't put it on.
yeah.
You don't put it on the weapon.
You don't put it
Okay.
on a weapon. Yeah.
Wait. Treating the holy water for the. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
That works then.
So she can give you. They can give you. God damn it! They can give you a flask of holy water. One. That's all they have prepared at the moment.
Okay, that's fine with me. Thank you.
Yep.
Does someone else want this, or should I use it?
It's all
I
yours.
think you've got
Is
the best
anyone-
shot with it.
Do I?
I got other means.
Okie dokie. I will
All
take
right. So you take your short rest. Roll
Walk
your
an
hit
old
die.
lady home.
Yeah, we can kind of fast forward through that. You go out, you walk Ulera home, you fill her in on what happened. She tells you good luck and thank you. And you're going straight to the Quirn estate tonight.
Yep.
Then that's where we will pick up next week.
All right.
Sounds good to me.
So thank you all for tuning in. And this is not where I thought we would be when we started the session, but here we are. So I hope you're enjoying the ride with me. We'll see you next week. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.